Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be rearranging the city as well as creating some more foundations. So let's get started. So my main goal is to clean up this area here because I have a whole bunch of random stuff here. Like I have this base plate that's half mills plated, this one's half mills plated. I have these base plates that are just sitting here. I have the hardware store that's here. I have this building, which I haven't even decided what it was yet. I did go through all of your guys' comments on that video. And thank you all so much for responding to that video and giving a lot of great feedback on it. But I haven't come to a conclusion as to what that's going to be yet. But definitely stay tuned for the next video where I build this out a little bit more and I decide what that's going to be. But this right here has a foundation underneath it. But this entire section, so all four of these base plates need work. And I also need to figure out what I'm doing with these buildings and also what I'm going to do with the Lego store over there. So I have to figure out what I'm doing with that. The new modular, the 2025 one, was just announced or officially revealed. So that is probably going to end up going in this front corner right here. I don't know how that's going to look, to be totally honest with you. I don't know if this custom pizza shop is going to stay here. So that's a whole other issue. But I'll cross that bridge once that set gets bought and built and placed into the city here. But for now, I'm just focusing on this section of the city back here because this needs a lot of work and I need to fix it. So that's what today's video is for. And I also want to move the Holiday Main Street set as well. Eventually, I want to put a corner build here. I want to figure out what exactly I'm going to do with that. So I'm going to just move this probably to over here somewhere and then put an open base plate there, just to kind of remind myself that I do need to do something with that, because as it is right now, that wall, it looks fine, but it's kind of plain and boring and it doesn't look all that great. So that's another thing that I want to do, but let me get started on removing a whole bunch of stuff from here, and then we can have a clean slate and we can get to work on creating foundations as well as some other stuff for the city. All right, so I went ahead and I removed the Holiday Main Street set and also all of the other stuff here. So now, and also the Lego store as well. So now this entire row here is pretty much ready to do what I want to do today, which is create foundations for these four base plates, these four blue ones right here. And I want to also rearrange the city with all of the other stuff that I took out. And so I think I might end up using a mix of these foundations that you can see here, like with the plates and tiles that I've shown more in depth in previous videos, which I will pin in the top right. If you guys haven't seen those yet, I highly recommend you check those out. I'm going to probably end up using a mix of those along with the types of foundations that I used over here, like under the Jazz Club and the Parisian Restaurant, and also the Holiday Main Street set. I feel like that's probably the way to go. I'm definitely going to do that over here just because this is kind of an odd shape, and so I don't really know what is going to go here yet. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm going to play that by ear. But this is probably going to end up getting mills plated like that is. And then I'm going to end up probably doing the same thing to this here. And then I would love to make 3 regular foundations like this here. But it's just entirely dependent on how many pieces I have. So without me talking too much about it, let's get started on actually building some of these and seeing how far I can get. And then worst case, I just have to do a couple more of those over here, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so I went ahead and I made a 2 base plate long foundation here. So this is 32 studs deep by 64 studs long. And this was pretty much all of the extra plate that I had. You can see I'm using a whole bunch of different wedge plates in here to try and make it work. But this is pretty much all the plate that I had, like I said. So the other 2 I'm going to have to end up doing like that if I want to finish that in today's video, which I do. So I'm going to stick with that, but I'll cover that in a minute. And like I said earlier, if you want to see these more in depth, check out the other videos on my channel that cover these foundations and how to make them. They're pretty simple and they are very effective, and you can put a base plate on and it is not going anywhere. Obviously, if you press down in the middle, it's going to pop up a little bit, but once you have a real building on it with, like weight on it, they're not going anywhere, so that is nothing to be concerned about. And so now that that's in, obviously the blue base plates will not be staying, but I'm just going to leave them there for the time being, but they will be switched out before the end of the video. I just have to decide what color of base plate I want. because I have a whole bunch of greens, but I don't think I want to put green here just because it's right next to the train yard. I don't think that'd make a lot of sense. I would love to do light gray, but I don't know if I have enough light gray base plates to do this. So that is something to keep in mind. Also, I do have a couple dark grays, so maybe I'll mix them in, and then I also need to figure out one for that spot as well. So I didn't forget about that. That is something on my to-do list for today as well, is to get a base plate for that. But this area here is starting to shape up. I am really starting to like this because this down here did not look that great. So this looks a lot better. So now let me take these out, make some more foundations, or actually probably just regular Mills plates for this section here. Maybe one regular Mills plate and then one foundation like how the Jazz Club is now. But I guess we'll see. So let me pull these out like I said, and I'll get to work. All right, so the Mills plate over here is in, and I think for this over here, I'm going to just leave it for now. I haven't decided what I want to do with this section here because this is its own thing right here, and then the, if it wants to cooperate here. The rest of this is on the other base plate with the switch track here. So I haven't, as you guys can see, I haven't even finished Mills plating this yet, just because I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to just leave it with the 4x4 plates or if I want to add wedge plates in, maybe something like that. That's probably a good idea, actually, but I don't know. Drop a comment down below what you think I should do with this area. If I should keep it as a Mills plate and then kind of bring it around to meet up with the eventual line of bricks that's going to cover the backs of these foundations here, or if I should just get rid of this entirely and just put something else there, or just leave it as open space. Let me know what you guys think of that, but I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Obviously, Mills plates, for those of you that are familiar with it, they work great. They're super strong and sturdy, and the only downside to them is that they're extremely part intensive, but when you have the pieces to do it, they work great. Unfortunately, I don't have enough pieces to do that for every base plate in the city, but one day I will be making the conversion to that, so definitely stay tuned for that in the eventual future. I don't know the timeline on that, but I do still have one more spot to Mills plate here, but like I said, I think it's going to end up being something like that, where I just take a base plate, put a bunch of random brick on it, and then just lay a base plate on top. I think that's probably my easiest option right now because I don't have a whole lot of extra light gray plate, and I don't have any more plate for regular foundations, so this is going to be just a temporary solution because I want to have all of these at the same level by the end of this video today. So that is probably what I'm going to end up doing. So let me do that really quick and I'll show you guys how it all looks. All right, so I went ahead and I just added a bunch of bricks along the base plate here. I could add, and I might end up actually doing that, is putting a couple more bricks along the middle here just to make it so there's a couple cross beams, but as it is right now, just putting a base plate on it, that seems to do the trick, and it seems to be enough. So that's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to just leave it like that for the time being, and then I can just put the lamppost here to kind of tack it down together. But this looks good. I'm pretty happy with this, and I did the same here. I put the light gray base plate here, and then I went and I didn't have enough gray base plate, so I ended up putting a brown one over here just to kind of remind myself that I need to replace it with something. So that is why that's open, but I think that looks all right. Actually, it looks better than just leaving it open, obviously. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I think that looks good. And then, like I showed you earlier, I did this whole Mills plate here. So this is Mills plated. These two are foundations, as well as these two here. I did switch out the blue and the tan base plates, and so I ended up putting the Holiday Main Street set here, and then just an open dark gray base plate here. And as you guys can see, the Lego store is on the overhead crane at the moment, but I'm going to put it here. I'm going to probably also put the sand green building that I was working on recently. Probably going to also put that on the same base plate, and then just put that here for the time being, and then worst case, I can always just rip it up and put it on a different base plate in the future, but I want to just put it there just so everything is kind of on the same page. So I think that'll actually help it look a little bit nicer too, just to have everything next to each other. And this gives me room to put a building on this dark gray base plate here, and also this light gray section here for the office for the train yard. So let me get started on combining those two buildings together, and I'll show you guys how that all looks. All right, so I went ahead and I put them on the same base plate, and I went and I placed it in. And so now that whole section is good to go, which I'm pretty happy with. And so now I just need to go and get a corner modular for this area here, but that's not a huge problem. The 2025 modular, like I said, is probably going to end up here. Just to give you guys a little bit of a better idea, let me just remove all the stuff that's over here. But I think that could look pretty good. I think putting that modular here could maybe look good. I'd have to see it in person, like I mentioned, because the staircase on the left leaves a gap between the buildings, and also the side of my pizza shop here doesn't look the best. So that is something to keep in mind, but I guess we'll wait until I get that and I build it and I place it here. Worst case, I could also put it in the back or maybe along that corner, but that's a problem for a future day. For now, this is the extent, I think, of the video. I'm pretty happy with what we did today. There's a lot of progress made in this area here. It actually looks like space now. It actually looks like it's supposed to be here instead of all the random blue base plates and the foundations and all that stuff. So I'm pretty happy with this. On that note, that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what I did, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any feedback for me on any type of building you want to see in this area, and also the style of foundations and the mills plates that are in here, and what you think of the 2025 modular going right here, make sure to drop a comment down below. And once again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.